Hello, everybody, and I know I haven't posted for a while, and I have a reason, as I always do, but this one's a bit more significant, and I thought I should talk about it via request from another person that is involved, and for myself as well. I think this should be brought up to a front, in a way. I have recently lost my dog, and her name was Zoey. I wanted to talk about her and how she came to be in my family and how she ended up leaving my family as well. And her significance that she got in my life and in other people's lives as well. And yes, she was a very troublesome animal sometimes. But we're all troublesome. Makes her more like us. Makes us all one in an understanding, in a way. And she was the best friend that I didn't have for parts of my life. She took that place and she made it something that a lot of other people couldn't. And I feel like the person that decided to let me own this animal, other than, my parents, should realize what impact she had in my life and realize what impact she had overall on everybody, because she was an amazing animal. Very funny, very active. And though she turned out to be 11 years old, she was still very, very energetic, which is quite surprising because 11-year-old dogs usually aren't that energetic. And she was a joy to be around. Now, excuse me if I don't know the exact dates of all of these events, but we're going to start out when I first found out or bargained my parents to get her. Now, this was around 2016, maybe late 2015. The original people that did own her had to move away to a place where they couldn't own an animal. And she looked very sweet. She wanted someone. And I needed someone. So, the people that moved away came down every summer to hang out with their cousin, which lived around the area and came down as well during the summer. And via all of that, they also visited their dog, because it still was, in my eyes, rightfully theirs. So, besides that, when we took her in, she came with a crate, she came with her food bowl. It was all good. She was a great dog at the start. She had some habits that we had to break her of, and never ended up breaking her of because we just couldn't get the will to break her of them, because she was, old enough at that point, about 6. But besides that, later, as time went on, she became very good friends with our very old dog named Tucker, who sadly passed away at the very end of 2016. And then we got our dog that we have right now, CJ. And they became pretty good friends. They played together. And though her small size did put a boundary in a lot of ways, she bounced back on that and played with CJ a lot. And he sometimes ended up winning in tug of war. And boy, did she rip up those toys. She'd have it in her mouth one second, the next second, it'd be all over the floor. But we won't talk about that. All the toys. Poor toys. But other than that, I would also like to bring to a front that she was something that not very many people get to experience. And I know a lot of other people lose animals, and I know how hard that can be. And I feel like she should be a representation of what good can be done. She was amazing. She had her flaws. We all have our flaws. And she put meaning into my life in other people's lives when most meaning couldn't really be found. And during her midlife, she was doing very well. Very food oriented. She was always very food oriented. Put a full She put a we put a bowl of food down in front of her, and it would be gone within the next 3 seconds. We had her on a few diets for a while. She did well on those. She liked beans, surprisingly, but not very surprisingly, because beans have salt, and dogs like salt. So we put her on a diet for a while. She did well with that. She liked the beans. She liked the food. She liked everything. She did well with a lot of the things we put in front of her. She interacted with a lot of other dogs in a good way. When CJ walked into the house, she had no problem with it. She didn't want to show how alpha she was. She just kind of said, "Hey, welcome to the household," which is very surprising, saying that some dogs / most dogs would want to make the new dog in the house realize who the alpha is, and she never did that. She just chilled. She was totally chill. Mostly because she didn't get to know Tugger very well, but that was a long time ago. For me, for all of us, we've moved on. But during near the start of 2018, she was still doing very well. She was still thriving. She was still being very interactive. But we noticed that her back half of her body, she was losing control of. It didn't get worse until later, but she couldn't move her back end very well. Her back legs, she could not control them. Near the very end of her life, she couldn't use them practically at all, which was a very sad thing to see, saying that she wanted to be so active and happy, and she couldn't do that, which was a very, very much of a damper. But at first, we just thought, it's fine, because, old dogs, especially pugs and beagles, she was a puggle, which she was mixed with those two dogs. They both are prone to having hip issues, so we just thought, she's probably just having a hip issue. It's not a very bad thing. She'll just have to live with it for a while, and she did fine for a while, and she did very well, surprisingly. She moved on from it. Going up and down the stairs got hard for her after a while, but she still worked through it. She still played with CJ. She still won. Let me tell you, this dog, Zoey, had the most exercised and strong front legs I swear any dog will ever have. Except for dogs that don't have back legs. We won't. Okay, so midlife, we've gone through start of her life and how I came to know her. And so near the end of her life, she started eating more and gaining less, and we figured out that there was a cancerous tumor pressing up against her spine, which was why she was losing control of the back half of her body. And so that kind of didn't bode well. And then she started going to the bathroom in the house, and she could not control it. She didn't know when she had to go to the bathroom. She had absolutely no control over most things she did with the back half of her body. And at first we just thought she was choosing not to go outside and go to the bathroom. But later we figured that she just couldn't control it and figure out when she had to go. So that's when we started to realize it was getting near the end and we couldn't put it off any longer. She couldn't deal with those things. She had no control over them. She could barely get up the stairs at this point, and our stairs are one of the main parts of our house. So last Wednesday. That would be I don't really know what day of February it would have been. But last Wednesday, we had to put her down because it was just torture for her every day. And I chose that it was the best thing to help her on her way. And now she is up there, hopefully living with all the happiness and joy that she deserves. Now, if you would like to see pictures of her and respect her, you may either do it in the comments of this video, or I will also post some pictures in the community tab of my channel. I'm not doing this for attention. This is a pure and honest thing that I want to do to recognize who she was and who she turned out to be and how amazing she was in my life. And it was a big impact when she left us because she didn't have a hand in it because she couldn't have, because she was a dog. She didn't realize that things were wrong. She just tried her best, and in the end her best wasn't there. And we couldn't watch that. So she deserved so much more that we weren't able to give her. Which is why we tried our best to make the last few months of her life the best they could ever be. And she was the light of everything. She would do this little thing when she was happy. She would get up on the couch, or anywhere for that matter, and she would just start wallowing. Now you're probably thinking, how would a dog wallow? She would stick her face in the blanket and wiggle around. She was like a very large worm. But it was adorable, and it made all of us laugh. She played with CJ like she could rule the world, and that she did. Even though CJ was a lot bigger, and still remains a lot bigger, she still wanted to prove herself. And even if she didn't win, she didn't care. She won again. She persevered. She was amazing. And I hope that the family that used to own this dog realizes that. And I'm sure you do, because you had her for more than I did. And I realized in the time that I did have her, how amazing she could be. And my respects go out to her and her family, her rightful family that she should have been able to have from the start. Her real family. I have the deepest of sorrows for you, and I hope you can get through this time, because it would be of her will that she would want you to get through this. Even if she couldn't show it very well, she was always there. When I was sad, she was there. When I was upset, she was there. When I was down, when I was being anxious, when I was just mentally dying, she was there. She didn't know what was wrong. She didn't know how to fix it. But she was there. And that's her. She's there. And she's always going to be there. So, I would love to talk on for hours about her, because she deserves to be talked about. She deserves to be respected, and her will to be fortified in the world that we live in, because dogs may not be everyone's realization in this world. Dogs may not be everywhere. But dogs are For the people that have dogs, they realize that dogs are good. Dogs can help us. Dogs save people. There would most likely not be us if there was no dogs. We could find a way, but there would these animals they were brought into this world and they were made to be respected, made to be realistic, made to be happy. Even if sometimes they weren't supposed to be happy, they were still trying to show their best for the people that they've come to know and they've come to love. 'Cause Zoey did that. She loved us unconditionally, and sometimes we didn't see that, and that's one of the biggest mistakes we had with her. So the family that did own her before, I saw you realized that. You always knew that, and you came back every summer to see your dog. She was never really mine. She was yours. And she will always be yours. So, anybody out there who needs something, someone, you might not be able to do it alone. Because these animals, they might not be human, they might not have opposable thumbs, but they're real. They're alive. They're us. And Zoey was something that a lot of people should actually look up to. She might have had her bad habits. She, let's be honest, might have not been the smartest. She loved. She cared. She wanted and she had. She came and she did. She was. And she is. This house will never be complete without her. And this world will never be complete without her. So, there will never be a replacement. Never be a right puzzle piece to fit in that place that she had, she owned, she created. There will never be a place for her that she left and could be replaced. But she will always be here. And I have faith in that. I hope that the family that had her knows that too. I have my deepest respects for her, and for you, and for everyone. Everybody that deserves something, has had something, will have something, should cherish that. And for all that Zoey was, I cherished her because she deserved to have everything in the world that I couldn't give her. And now she has everything, and she has everything that she deserves. And that everything is literally everything. So, I wanted to talk about this because it deserved to be talked about, and I wanted to bring up to a front that this was requested by someone who was in the family that used to own her, and I myself wanted to talk about it. I didn't know how to bring it about, so here's how I brought it about. I hope this is what what was needed. I feel quite compelled to fight the world now. Yay! But yeah, that was Zoey, the dog who is. She is. Not was. Is. So I hope you have a nice night. I hope you, to the family who I know will watch this and used to own her, I hope you get over this. I hope you move on. She would want you to move on, even if she couldn't say that. I hope you find something to fill that space. Because emptiness can't be filled by nothing. My heart goes out to you, and I hope you can find a way to fill the space that she had. Even though it may never be filled, she will be there with you, walking beside you. And she knows that you held the leash, and you always will hold the leash. She respected you more than she respected me, let's be honest here. And she made my light. She held my light, and she made it brighter. She always will be the dog that made my life brighter. And even though, my parents didn't really like her, I did. I loved her. I wanted her to stay with me forever, but I knew that that wasn't possible, and if I just kept it longer, it wouldn't have been fair to her. So, we did this for her good. Because she deserves more good. And she was amazing. She was the dog who is. She is the dog who is. She will always be the dog who is, because there's nothing else to say about her. She's amazing. She was amazing. She was beautiful. She was funny. She was the light. She was real. She was alive. She was us. She brought us together when sometimes we couldn't have been brought together. She made us happy when we couldn't find happiness in things that we thought were already gone. She brought us back. She made us who we are. She made us better. And the day that I met her, I knew that she would make an impact in my life. And I knew that she was not my dog. She was our dog. She was the dog. She was my family. And even though she was never rightfully mine, she was part of me. So, to wherever she is now, I really hope she's doing well. I really hope she's continuing that light. Finding a meaning that I might never see. So, I'm not gonna make this happy right now. This isn't a situation to be funny. This isn't funny. Okay? This is real. Yeah, I know real might suck, but it's real. Sometimes life does suck. And she wouldn't want us to dwell. So I'm not gonna dwell. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna keep the promise. I might have not. She might have not been able to speak, but her eyes spoke so much more than I could speak. And there's been so many times where dogs bark and humans, we tell them to be quiet. And I know it's kind of sounding like I'm doing the rebellion. Stop silencing animals. But I'm trying to bring to a front that we're technically telling them to shut up, to quiet themselves, keep their voice hidden inside, and that's not right. We are their owners, but at the same time, they own us. They help us. They make us real. And she made me real. She made all of us real. So, I hope you have a wonderful night, wonderful day, wonderful evening, wonderful afternoon, wonderful life. And this is me giving my hope to all of you. Because you need hope. You need hope to stay inside you. Zoe will want you to have hope, and I want you to have hope. So please, have hope.